Great show.
Thank you.
If you could change any choice you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of the Inspired Choices Show, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Christine McIver, and we are here on the Inspired Choices Show, which we are every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern since, what year was that again, Sarah? That's my producer. 2011. We have been doing this show we're into our 15th year of doing this show. Like, it's pretty freaking amazing. And we're all about business, making business choices, doing personal development through that, and really helping you to unpack what's not working in your business and how you can grow your business. So wherever you are, whether you're watching us on YouTube, on our TV platform, on Facebook, or you're watching us on TikTok, welcome, everyone. I'm really excited about tonight's show. We're talking about money, honey. So tonight's show is called Revenue Does Not Equal Income. And that may sound like a very basic topic, but trust me, there's a lot to this, and I'm excited to share that with you. Now, before we dive deep into the show, I want to just tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm a business optimization expert. I work with business owners, entrepreneurs, to help them grow their business, help them really leverage their expertise, show them where the gaps are in their business, how they can really grow their businesses, and have fun and pleasure while doing it. And of course, make money. We want to absolutely be financially successful, but we also want to be spiritually, intellectually successful as well. So I marry all of those together when I work with someone. I'm also the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network, and this is our podcast TV platform. I'm the CEO of ICN Summits, ICN Publishing, and we've got a new business line that's coming in very, very soon, but can't tell you about it yet because we're working on it. But overall, what I do is I really show people and work with people and support people to get their ideas out to the world and to really leverage so that they can have more of what they desire in their own business. And who wouldn't want that, right? So let me read the show notes for tonight that's going to set us going, and then we're going to jump right in. So are you chasing big revenue numbers, but still wondering why your bank account and your peace of mind don't reflect your effort? Have you ever hit a major revenue milestone only to realize you're still struggling financially or emotionally? Tonight, we're going to talk all about this, and we're going to dive deep into way more than spreadsheets and sales funnels. In this episode, we're going to go beyond the numbers to uncover the personal and emotional side of building a truly profitable business. We'll explore how financial clarity impacts your mindset, relationships, and sense of purpose. We're going to talk about some very candid experiences that I have had and some of my clients have had. And we're going to talk about the triumphs and the struggles and everything in between, and then give you actionable strategies that's going to help you to shift from burnout to balance. Because lots of us are in burnout with our businesses. We're in burnout with how we are going to get going in the world and how we're going to really, we're at a tough time in many, many countries in the world, and we don't necessarily know what direction we're going in or how we're going to move forward. And this is a topic, money is a really important topic that we all need to be looking at. And we need to be paying attention to why. What are the things that I can be doing? What's really holding us back in that area? So if you are listening live and you'd like to ask questions, come on over to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room. You can ask questions, and you can come on live and ask questions with me through our platform. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about revenue does not equal income. So let me ask you this question. Are you measuring the success of your business by your revenue? Or are you measuring how much money actually stays in your pocket? So many people will make this mistake. Many entrepreneurs make this mistake. They get very excited about their sales, about the bookings that they possibly get, about the clients or the customers that they get. They're very excited about everything that is being purchased from them, but they do not have a strong handle on the difference between the revenue coming in and the actual income that they are holding onto. So how many of you get really excited about the revenue coming in, but you don't know, and you should be able to know within minutes around how much of that is actually going to be income that stays. So this may seem very logical to everyone, but I will guess that most people that I have ever worked with, they miss these really, really important pieces. And when you do not understand your numbers as an entrepreneur, when you don't understand exactly what you are putting out to the world and what you're going to be getting back and being able to keep, you are chasing a dream. You're just chasing a dream. You're not actually building a business. You've got to know your numbers. And if you're someone that doesn't understand this, or you're someone that's not comfortable with it, just know that you've got some work to do around money. You don't have to be an accountant to understand how much money you're going to be retaining for each of the sales that you make. You don't. But what usually gets in the way are the mindsets, the belief systems, the doubt, the all of the thoughts that you picked up from family and friends or the world around us right now. I mean, if you're somebody that is listening to what's going on in the news and you're buying that everything that you hear is real and true, this is a big piece, is not only real but is true for you, then you're not actually tapping into what you know. You see, we've been fed our whole lives, we've been fed the ideas, the belief systems around everything in our lives, and most especially around money. And we've been hyped up to focus in one direction or another. And oftentimes, especially in the last 100 years, there's been a lot of fear mongering around money. And that doesn't go away. It just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to choose that as your truth, as your reality. I work from home. I'm a solo entrepreneur. I work from home. So I don't have people around me physically in person all the time talking about what's not great out there in the world, what's going on wrong in the world, what's bad in the world, like how things are not happening in our favor. When you are immersing yourself in that kind of languaging, that kind of mindset, you're going to take your eye off the ball of what's going to create you being successful in your business. This is critical for you to understand that you grow where you're planted. So if you're planted in fear, and I'm not saying don't have conscious knowledge of what's happening, but spend more time with you, spend more time in your reality and what you are going to make true for you than you do with the external information going on. When we are in this fear space, and many, many, many of us are, and I've been there for sure. When we're in this fear space, we give a lot more attention to it's like the rat race where we have to go, 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 and we have to make as many sales, make as many sales, make more sales, make more sales, do whatever we can to make money. And that, my friends, what that was going to do is it's going to have you, first of all, you're going to be in fear. So what are you going to be attracting to you? What are you also looking out for? What are you paying attention to? You're going to be paying attention to the scramble that you need to be making every day. You're going to be going to bed worrying at night. You're going to be waking up in the morning going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I got to get going. I got to hurry. I got to hurry. As opposed to being strategic about what you are doing. So a number of years ago, I would say it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I really got to this place, and I wonder how many of you feel this way. I really got to this place where I was tired. I was tired of the scramble. I was tired of the run. I was tired of always chasing, always chasing, always chasing. And it got to the point that, I got quite depressed actually, and I got quite frustrated. And it started to reflect in my business. It started to reflect in my bank account, and it started to reflect in my health. And we know that everything is connected. So what ended up happening was things got really, really, really bad financially. And I didn't know what to do. I was really, really lost. I thought I was going to have to close the business down. I was super frustrated because I knew what we were doing was fabulous, but I was missing the mark, and I didn't know what that mark was. Has anybody felt like that, or do you feel like that today? I really, really get this. So what I started to do was I started to evaluate, really truly evaluate what my offers were. And when I talk about evaluate, I'm talking about the financial piece. I sat down and I looked at every service. So we're a service business. And I looked at every single service that we offered. And I broke it down into steps. So I wrote down every single solitary step that I did in that particular service, in each of the services. And I wrote down what the service was and how much time it took for me or a team member to execute that service. This task, I'm telling you, was super frustrating because it took a long time, because most of us don't have everything written out about every single one of our services, right? We don't have our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, written out in deep detail, especially the part that how long does it take? So I went through and I did that. And then the next step was to go through and evaluate who could do that step. Did I, the CEO, need to do that step? And if I did, it's going to cost more to have that particular step completed. Or could I outsource it, or could I hire and have a team member do this? I went through this painstakingly task and evaluated and kept going back and forth to it. And then there would be more things and more steps that I was forgetting. I kept going into it. At the end of this, I calculated out the time, how much time it took for that service task in that whole service, times it by who was doing it and what their pay rate was. At the end of that, I added all of that up, my friends, and what that total was and what I should be charging for that service was a minimum of 25 to 40% higher than what I was actually charging. Now, at first, I went into a beyond about this. I was like, I can't do that. If I charge that, I'm not going to have any customers, right? Again, mindset. And I was challenged. I was working with a coach at the time. And what we really started to look at was, well, if that's the actual cost to operate that particular service, then there's no wonder that I have been in very bad straits financially, because I wasn't covering my costs. So I had revenue coming in and I couldn't understand why I didn't have the income after paying all the expenses. It was because I didn't have a proper picture. I didn't have a proper picture of exactly what was involved in every single task and what extra services I was paying for in order to execute those tasks. I was not on the ball about this, but it started with my thought patterns. It started with my belief systems around money, because remember I said that when I got this all written out and figured out how much I should be charging, I went into a beyond. I thought there's no way I can ever charge somebody that amount of money. And I had to challenge that. I had to seriously look at that very, very deeply. And I had to challenge myself around my belief systems with money. That's the basics That's where we all need to be starting, is challenging our beliefs around money, because revenue does not equal income. What's coming in does not equal what you're going to have at the end of the day. Now, when we work for someone else and our only expense maybe is our gasoline in our car and maybe buying lunch, we can very easily look at that. But when you're in your own business, it's a much deeper dive. And one of the best things I ever did was slow down so I could speed up. And I can tell you today, I am charging that, and we have 3 services above that level today. Things really changed in the right order for me, but I had to slow down to speed up. So I hope you're starting to understand this. We are going to go for our quick break to pay some of the bills. And when we get back, I'm going to dive deeper into asking you more and more questions. Again, if you have any questions, you can join us at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room, or you can always send me an email, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. I would love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and we can always get on a call and find out where your blocks are and look to see if working together would actually be an advantage for you and your business. Okay, my friends, stick around. You are listening to the Inspired Choices Show. Of course, I'm Christine, your host on the Inspired Choices Network platform, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my friends. Yes, you can send an email there or to Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. So tonight we're talking all about revenue does not equal income. This is talking about the financial piece, but it's also talking about the mindset, your belief systems, your thoughts, all of these things that really do impact much greater than the sales of your revenue. So in the first section of this show tonight, I talked about you've got to know your numbers or you're just chasing a dream. It's absolutely true. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to be an accountant or a bookkeeper or great with Excel. You don't. But you do need to understand your numbers. At the end of the day, you're the one that is doing the work to create this revenue and this income, and you're also the one that has to pay the bills. If you are struggling with understanding it, I get it. We all learn differently. Put your hand up and ask for help. It's not a bad thing to ask for help. You maybe just consume information differently and need to be taught in a different way. That's okay. But it is your responsibility to understand your numbers. If you, the owner of your business, does not understand your numbers, then you can't put the blame on anybody else. You can't understand that you're not charging enough. And, like I said earlier, when I realized I wasn't charging enough, the big thing that came up was belief systems. And I had to work on that before I could change my numbers. You can't just say, oh, I'm not charging enough and throw a new number up, because if you already believed that you could charge that amount of money, you would be, right? Why wouldn't you be? So oftentimes where we should be charging and where we are charging, what's in the way of that happening is our belief systems, our self-confidence, the doubt that we maybe carry within ourselves. This is critical for you to be paying attention to this. So I want you to ask yourself, have you ever hit a revenue milestone only to realize you're still struggling financially or still struggling emotionally? Maybe you're struggling emotionally with the financial piece, right? What you want to look at is, when you hit that milestone, what started to occur within you? What started to hit within you? Were you doubting yourself that you actually deserved that? Were you questioning, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's finally happened. Like, is this real? And then you started to go back into a really depressed, dark energy. You've got to pay attention to those opportunities for growth. And that's an opportunity for growth. When you hit a milestone, know that I've never been here before, and pay attention. Pay attention to what goes on in your body. Pay attention to the emotions that come up. Start listening to your words that are coming out of your mouth. That's going to be such a big shining the light on what is occurring for you. I know lots of people that they'll hit milestones and then they'll go into deep, deep depression, or they'll go into like losing money. For instance, we've all heard about, people that win the lottery, and shortly after, when they won the lottery, they've lost all the money. It's not that they've lost the money. Yes, the money physically is gone. But what actually happened is they've not developed the ability to have that amount of money, to receive that amount of money, because of their belief systems. And that's where we've got to really pay attention. So if you're hitting milestones, but you're still struggling, that's the biggest place that you want to start looking at. And then ask yourself, is your business actually supporting the life that you want? Is it? Have you gone into that space of, oh my gosh, I'm in my own business and I'm so excited, and I bought the computer, and I've bought a domain name, and I've even created a website, and I've got all the pieces in place, and then you're not charging enough. You don't have your services or your products defined. You don't have your systems in place. Being in your own business takes work. It does take work. But you want to build your business from the foundation up. You need to understand everything that it takes to create this business, and everything that it takes to successfully execute a service or a product. You need to understand all of the expenses. So have you sat down and listed out every single expense, every payment that is going out? Have you listed that in a way that you understand when they're being paid, when they're being charged to your credit card, how often they're being charged to your credit card? Do you evaluate all of the charges? We live in a world where we can set so many things up automatically that I'm like, I can't even tell you how many clients that I've worked with, and I've said, okay, list out all of, both personally and professionally, list out every single solitary expense that you have. Don't do anything about it. And then let's really look at whether it's necessary or not. I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, I can find at least 10 to 20% of unnecessary expenses, because one, many entrepreneurs sign up for things that they don't actually need, or they don't learn how to use. And so it becomes this, I'll get to it one day. I'm not going to, I got it for a good price. I don't want to cancel it. Or we just put blinders on. We don't actually want to know the truth. My friends, if you want to have that income in your bank account, and you want to have that lifestyle, that business that supports the lifestyle that you want, I'm really inviting you in to get deep into the truth of what you're not looking at and what you're not charging. This is critical. And so, you know what? If you honestly took a month, to step back, I mean, if you don't have enough income coming in, you're not going to be losing a lot. right? If you took a month to go through a lot of these steps that I'm talking about tonight, and you dove really, really deeply into both the numbers, the financials, the list of expenses, what you're charging, what you really need to be charging, how much all of this service or product is actually costing you, and the value of it. And you really, really got deeply into that. And this is critical because you will not make more money if you don't do this second half. And you dove deep into what is your belief systems around money? What's your belief systems around lack? What are the thoughts that are going through your head? What are the words that are coming out of your mouth when you're financially struggling? If you would do this for 1 month and dove so deeply into this, I am telling you, 6 months from now, your finances will be significantly different. So why do I say do this for 1 month and 6 months? Because change, especially the change in your thought pattern, it takes time for you to create new neural pathways and new belief systems that are going to support you having more income. Does this make sense? I hope it makes sense to you. All right. So I want you to also ask yourself, what emotions come up when you think about your cash flow? All right. So what's cash flow? Cash flow is the money that is coming in on a daily basis, a weekly basis. And that's the cash that you can utilize to pay for things. It may not be some big expenses. It's not like purchasing a piece of equipment, but the day-to-day cash that's coming in to pay for your day-to-day expenses. When I say those words, what emotions actually come up for you? Do you go into anxiety? Do you go into frustration? Do you want to like run away from this show? Do you want to not even think about it? So many of us want to ignore it, and we come up with excuses, right? We don't want to be frustrated. We don't want to be held accountable to look at these things because, one, we're overwhelmed with worry. And two, we may have a lot of responsibilities that we don't want to face, that, what, we need to be doing things differently. It really is a balancing act between doing the work and doing the deep dive of development, personal development. But you can do this work. You can do this. And imagine when you're willing to do this work, how you're going to begin to succeed on a different level. And that's exactly what occurred for me. I did some really deep diving around money. I did some deep diving around my belief system, around my own personal confidence in what I brought to the world and what I brought to my clients, and where my value was. How did I value myself? How did I value what I brought to the table? A lot of times when things are easy for us, or we can jump in and help people really, really quickly, and people say, "Oh, thank you so much." And what comes out of our mouth some of the time? "Oh, no problem. That was easy." That's easy. What's easy for you is still valuable. What's easy for you and not for others is extremely valuable. And if you hear yourself saying again and again, "Oh, that's no big deal. That's no big deal. That's no big deal," you are devaluing yourself. I'm glad that you have things that are easy. There are many things that are easy for me today. But when I first started my business and I first started learning how to do all of the things that I do today, I had to take a lot of time. I invested in myself, education. I invested a great deal of effort in reading and testing and teaching and training my team to be able to do this as well. So today we have a lot of things that for us educated, trained, very experienced individuals say is easy, but it's not easy out of the gate. I know if I brought my producers on right now, I could go back and I could talk to them about, remember when you first started? And they would be overwhelmed. We are all overwhelmed in a new job. We're all trying to figure out how to do things. Well, initially, when you start to do things differently around your belief system with money, around challenging yourself on pricing, it's going to be hard in the beginning. It is going to be hard, but you can do this, and this is going to make all the difference in the world. So if you could make the same amount of money while working fewer hours, what would you do differently in your business today? Have you ever thought about that? Now, this is not about you doing less things. This is about doing things more efficiently. This is about creating that foundation that 90% of entrepreneurs lack. I speak to entrepreneurs every day that they do not have things. My producer just said, I learned it's okay to suck at first. You're right. It is okay to suck at first. It is. But be willing to stretch yourself so that you can have that income. So doing all of the work and having all of these sales, that does not mean you have income. That means that you've made sales. So let's stop right there. You've made sales. So you have revenue that you're being paid for the sales. Okay. Period. That doesn't mean, if $100,000 in revenue comes in, and this happened to me, I had like $150,000 revenue coming in, but what was in my bank account and in my hand at tax time was maybe $500. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? I'm working for nothing. We're not working for nothing. What we're doing is we are actually doing it wrong. And this is what I really want to help you with. So we're going to go for our next break. Do not go away. I have got some some items that I want to go over with you to help you to have more income at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and at the end of the year, each and every year. So you're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We're on the Inspired Choices Network, and I would love to hear from you. Send me an email, christine@christinemciver.com, and ask your questions. Or if you're listening live or listening to this on demand, do comment. Make your comments wherever you're seeing this podcast or TV show, and I will be sure and get those, and I'll answer your questions. All right, we'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Yes, back to the program. If you're just joining tonight, thank you so much for being here. We are talking all about money, honey. We're talking about revenue does not equal income. And while that seems like a very straightforward thing, many of us do not pay attention to our numbers. And what we do pay attention to is at the end of the day, we pay attention to what's left in our hand. There's a big difference. There's a big stretch. There's many steps between creation and the final end of the income that's left in your hand. So just making a sale does not actually make you wealthy. Just making a sale does not actually guarantee you that you will have money in the bank, that you will have enough money to pay your expenses, that you will have enough money to enjoy the life that you desire. And you deserve to have the life that you desire, my friends. So I want to go through some steps of what you can be doing. And I've been referring to them already around the big things about really going through every single solitary step to create a service or a product, evaluating the time that's required for each of these. And don't skimp on this. This is really super important that you put in there the actual length of time that it takes for you to create that. And then put in who is ever going to do that? What is their hourly rate? Multiply that. That's what that step in that task, that's what that is worth. And then you're going to come up with the real, not just value, the real cost of that product or service. And then you add on what your bonus of what you want to charge for that. And that's where you're going to then retain the income. You see, the cost of your services, the cost of production, the time that you're investing, and all of the extra services that go into creating that product or that service, that takes a chunk out of your profit. Your profit goes on over top of all of your costs. You can't just think off the top of your head, okay, so I'm seeing Bob and Susie and Betty, they all charge, let's say $100. And you look at it and you go through this task and you go, but Christine, everybody else charges $100 and mine's saying that just the cost alone is $75. I can't charge more than $100 or I'm not going to be competitive. Okay, well then you've got to look at, am I even going to do, is this something that I'm going to continue to do if I'm going to continue to put myself in the hole every month? That's one thing you want to ask yourself. And two, if you get that I really want to do this business, how do I move past this? You've got to be able to see that most people out there are doing exactly what you were doing before. They're not doing a proper evaluation. They're undercutting themselves and they're going to go out of business. When you value what you do and you really come to the table knowing I'm worth charging this amount of money, you're going to show up. I mean, you're really, really going to show up with a product, with a service that people are going to go, wow, it's so worth paying more for her service or her product than other people because of what I am receiving. People are willing to pay for top quality service and product, but you've got to be willing to stretch out of your comfort zone and charge what is actually the cost of that product or that service. So the very first thing that is going to start to shift and have more revenue, more profit in your pocket at the end of the week, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, is you need to raise your prices. As I said, most entrepreneurs undercharge. Increase your rates based on the true cost and the value of what you are bringing to the table. Here's a really interesting thing. When I first started to produce other people's podcasts, I was charging such a low amount because the person that taught me how to do it, she was charging such a low amount. And within about 6 to 8 months, I went, this is ridiculous. Like, I knew enough that we were way undercharging. Then what I did was I continued to add more value. So then the price continued to rise. Well, when I made a quantum shift with all of the people that were currently my hosts, and I just about doubled, I increased by about 75%, a number of people left. But here's the really cool thing. A number of people left. I'd say maybe 30 to 40% of the customers left, the hosts left. But what happened was I was still making more money based on what I had been making the previous month, but I had less hosts, so therefore I had more time. And with that time, I was able to do more connections. I was able to bring on more hosts and spend more time doing the sales, doing, research and development, creating new services that we added into the business. It was the best thing I ever did, and it scared the crap out of me. It really, really did. I went into fear that I just blew up my business. But raising your prices can be one of the best things you ever do in growing you. So get this. Yes, of course, you're going to have more income, but what it's going to do for you is grow your confidence, and it's going to grow the way you see yourself. Nobody wants to hire somebody that doesn't feel like what they bring to the table is valuable. You need to be showing up knowing that what you bring to the table is valuable. And if you don't feel that way, then go do some work on your business. Go do some work on your services. And for goodness sakes, hire a coach. Contact me. Let's have a conversation. When I started to hire coaches, and I've had many coaches over the years who have grown me, when I've started to hire coaches, I started to rise up even greater in who I was and how I showed up in the world. It's been one of the best things in the world. The next thing that you want to absolutely do is cut unnecessary expenses. So you've got to write everything down. You want to audit all of your subscriptions. If you've got things on automatic pay, you need to look at your software you're paying for. Maybe you're still paying for something that you haven't used in a very, very long time. You want to look at your overhead costs. Do you really need to have the size of building that you have, or the room, or the office that you have? Can you be doing things a little bit differently? You want to eliminate what isn't directly contributing to the revenue. And what contributes to the revenue is whatever is being utilized to create that product or that service. So this is where you need to seriously be looking at cutting those costs. You want to include you want to absolutely want to improve your cash flow management. So what do I mean by that? Well, you want to ensure that there's more cash easily going in and out of your bank accounts. So guess what? That means you need to have a proper system set up for invoicing. You need to be invoicing people faster. When I had this big point of view about, oh my gosh, like when I started to raise my prices a little bit and I still had a lot of limitations around my belief system around money, I avoided sending people invoices. How many of you know that you avoid sending invoices immediately? Today, when you want to hire me, you pay before I work for you, because I know the value that I bring to the table. So people want to hire me. There's a package, there's some kind of a deposit. Something has to go in first before I start to do the work. What does that mean? That means that the cash flow is always in a positive flow for me. You want to send the invoices. You want to do follow-ups on late payments. You want to negotiate maybe better terms with your vendors as well. One of the things that I do yearly is I look at what am I paying monthly and what am I paying annually, and then I look to see if I can get a better price if I bring in an annual payment as opposed to a monthly payment. And when things were tight financially, yeah, monthly made sense. But when you start to have more cash flow, that money then can start to work for you, so you can pay for something, for a service that you're using annually, and you're going to end up saving anywhere from 10 to 20%. If you did that on all your expenses, you would have more income at the end of the day, right? So this is super, super important. When you're looking at your products and your services as well, you want to learn to upsell or cross-sell your services and your products. Maybe you even go into an affiliate with another company where you provide A, B, and C, and you point them in the customer in their direction, and they provide, D, E, and F, whatever that is. Affiliate programs can work in your favor, but not in a way that you're pushing them that at the customer, but where you are